Hi, and welcome to Window Cleaning Dude. In today's episode, we're going to talk about your screen cleaning. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you've probably seen my video on how to clean screens, and today I want to talk more specifically about the service itself. Now, I will be covering some of the things I talked about in my screen cleaning tutorial or video. Also, you can find more about this information also on my website, windowcleaningdude.com, for free, where I go over all these videos and all the content that I have here on YouTube. Today, like I said, we're going to be talking about your screen cleaning portion of your service. And when you're a window cleaner, you want to offer not only to clean the windows, but you also want to clean the screens, you want to wipe the tracks, and you want to wipe down the sills. So you want to clean the screens, tracks, sills, and the window itself. And you might also want to actually clean the frame as well. In the series of videos that I'm doing, we should be covering all these details. So let me get down to screen cleaning. So there are a few ways to clean the screens, and I've gone over this in the actual screen cleaning video, but I'm going to mention it here real quick, which is that you can wash the screens, dry brush the screens, and you can wipe the screens down with a wet rag. The wet rag method is the least effective, followed by the dry brushing, and then the most effective method is to use your washing wand and actually wash the screens. So I highly recommend that if you have access to plenty of water, that you wash the screens that you pull out of a home. It's always best to wash the screens with your washing wand with a brand new bucket full of water and soap, and to scrub down the screens with the washing wand and then follow it up with spraying out the soap and then letting it dry. And this is the most effective way to wash out all the dirt from the screen, and this is really important because if it rains shortly after you clean the windows and you haven't washed the screens, then all the dirt from the screen is going to hit the window, and then it's going to get the window dirty. Now, if you have a window cleaning guarantee, which I personally do not recommend, but I know a lot of window cleaners like to have a rain guarantee or a window cleaning guarantee, that's a big problem. So make sure that you wash out those screens really well so that you don't find yourself having to go back and complete your rain guarantee when the rain hits the screen and gets the windows all dirty. Like I said, I personally do not offer a rain guarantee, or any guarantee for that matter, which you can learn more about on windowcleaningdude.com or in some of my other videos, why I don't offer guarantees, and I have a very good reason for that. And it's not because I don't do good work. I actually do excellent work, which is why I do not need a guarantee. But you can learn more about that on windowcleaningdude.com or my videos here on YouTube. So as far as the screens are concerned, washing them is the best method, and I recommend that you do that for every house. Wash the screens. Now, the second best method, if you do not have access to a lot of water, is to use the dry brush method, which is where you use your hand brush or your hand broom and you proceed to clean the screen that way. And you can see all these methods in my screen cleaning video, how to clean screens. The last method is the wiping the screen down with a wet rag. So I usually take a washcloth, soak it, and then just wipe the screen down both sides. Same with the brushing and the washing of the screens. You want to do both sides, but I will wipe the screen down and the screen frame with the rag, and that's the least effective method. And you only use this method if you don't have access to a lot of water and you don't have your dry brush handy. So if you have your dry brush handy and you don't have access to a lot of water, then obviously using the dry brush is the next best method. And you might also find yourself wanting to use your dry brush if you're just simply out of time. So you just don't have a lot of time to clean this property. You know, cleaning screens do take some time, washing them and then spraying them out and doing all that. So dry brush method can be a much faster method, but it's not as effective, and you risk having an unhappy customer by doing that method. But sometimes you're in a spot and you have another choice, or you just want access to the water. So your next method is the dry brush, and then followed by the wiping it down with the rag. If you do the dry brush method and you do have plenty of time, but you just don't have access to a lot of water, then you might do the dry brush method and then wipe it down with a rag. But that is time intensive. So, and then the other situation where you might want to use a rag or a dry brush and you have plenty of time and plenty of water is just where if the screen isn't popping out and you somehow need to clean the screen with the screen staying in the window, then this is the next best method, especially if it's like 2 stories up in the air, then that's the method you're going to want to use. So as far as charging for screens, I know that some window cleaners will want to charge extra for doing the screens. I added in my service, and if you follow my strategy for window cleaning and my success pattern, what I teach is that you should include your window cleaning, your tracks, and your sills all in one price. And what this does is it eliminates confusion for the customer in trying to count everything up and figuring out a price in their head. It also allows you to quote rather quickly over the phone so that you don't lose any potential customers that way. And so it's just easier all around. It also doesn't give the customer the option to choose whether or not they're going to have the screens cleaned. You want to have those screens cleaned. And so I just add the price of the screen into my price already, and they don't really know that. They just think, oh, it's one price and I'm getting screens, tracks, sills, and I'm getting my windows cleaned all for this one price. This is great, but they don't realize that I've already included the price in the overall price. So I've already taken the choice out of their hands and put it into my hands as to what I want to see happen when I'm cleaning the window. This may sound like kind of mean, but it really isn't. You're really just defining your service and what you're going to charge. You have to decide if that's the method that you want to go with. You know, if your customers are not choosing to have their screens cleaned because you're charging separately, that's going to be a problem for you when it rains or just barely down the road, even from like maybe even the wind blowing the dirt off the screen onto the windows, right? So you want to get those screens cleaned so that you have happy customers and they want to have you back. So you don't want to fight the battle of trying to convince them to get their screens cleaned for more money. Then just simply include it in your price from the get-go, and then the choice is not even an issue anymore. So the next question you might be asking yourself when it comes to a screen cleaning service is whether or not you should do screen repairs or screen replacement. I personally do not mess with screen replacement. I know there are businesses who do just nothing but replacing screens, fixing screens. Doing screens is time consuming, and you typically need a certain setup to actually do it effectively and well, and to make your money's worth in terms of your time spent doing it, and also just doing it correctly and doing it well. You usually need a certain setup for that. So unless you want to add that on as an expenditure to your business to offer that, then I don't recommend messing with screens other than maybe just getting your screen roller tool and simply maybe fixing little things where maybe the corner popped out and you gotta, roll the rubber back in over top of the screening. I just do basic things like that, and I don't typically charge for that. I would only charge for that if like every single screen had that issue and it was going to take me more time. But typically a house will only have one or two corners like that you can easily just fix the screen for the customer. It's a free add-on to the customer. It makes them happy, makes them feel like they're getting really good quality from you, and it shows them that you care about their windows and their screens. Also, sometimes when you are cleaning screens, you might pop these areas out by accident just because they're not in there well to begin with, and so you're going to need a screen rolling tool to fix those little areas. So always have a screen rolling tool when you are messing with screens, period. So when you are working with screens, you really want to be careful when working with them that you don't break them. It can be easy to break them actually, especially if the screens are old. The corners of the screens, they will get dry rot. There'll be little plastic corner holders holding the screen together. As those get old, they get brittle, and so as you're trying to pop the screen out, sometimes they will snap. That is a dilemma, and I think the best bet in that situation is, instead of you carrying around a bunch of little corner pieces to then try to fix the screen, which means you got to take it all apart and put it all back together, I would just straight up tell the customer and say, hey, you know what, this corner broke. All these corners are getting really old and brittle and dry rot, and so just trying to pop these screens out, they're cracking. And so you might really consider having them replaced, and then have a business card of a screen company in your town to give them on the spot, and just say, I recommend these people to come out and clean your screen or fix your screens. That is something you want to be aware of as you are popping out the screens, that if it's an older home, they can in fact break. You want to be careful that you're not bending the screens. At that point, you're going to be talking about paying to replace the screens. So be careful as you're pulling out these screens. You want to go from the inside of the house and pop the screens out that way. And if they're just in there too tight, then at that point you're going to need to go outside, grab your thin tiny screwdriver and your paint key, and pop them out that way. And I have a video showing that process and talking about that process. You can go to windowcleaningdude.com and learn more about that. It's all free to learn everything that I have to offer on my website. But yeah, you want to be really careful when it comes to screens, and also when you are on the second story and floating the screens down. You can also see my video on that process. how to safely and effectively do that, so to save you time, and also how to pile up your screens correctly per side of the house so that you know where to put them back quickly as well. The other problem with an old screen is not only can the corners be brittle, but the actual screening material itself can be brittle, and if you barely put any pressure, rip, there goes the screen, right? So gotta always be looking at what you're doing and really thinking about the screens and see whether or not these screens are old or whether they're new, and just be aware that you can damage the screens easily if they're old and brittle, so be prepared for that. Lastly, what I'll say about the screen cleaning process, other than going and seeing my actual video of me cleaning the screens and pulling out the screens, in this video, the last thing I will talk about is charging per screen. So if you do decide to charge per screen, I would recommend anywhere from $1 to $2 per screen. You want to make it worth your while. It does, like I say, take time to clean screens. So if you're cleaning a house that has like 40 screens, well, you're looking from 40 to 80 bucks right there. Now, like I said, I automatically include that price in my overall price per window. I clean by the window, and so I don't clean by the square foot of the home. I clean by actually how many windows there are. So whether or not the window has a screen or not, I've already charged them for a screen when I do my quote over the phone. So if half the windows have screens and half don't, well, then you can see how I've just made some extra money in my window quote just from cleaning the windows, whether or not they have a screen. But at the same time, my overall purpose is just to ensure that those screens do in fact get clean, and I don't have to have that discussion with my customer trying to convince them to get the windows, or convince them to get the screens clean. They're automatically having those screens clean when they choose to have my service. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some useful gold nuggets, some useful content out of this video. Please give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel and join my window cleaning community here on YouTube, and to show YouTube that you do in fact enjoy these videos. So please hit that subscribe button. Also, please be sure to comment down below anything that you want to know more about that I haven't covered about screens. Go to windowcleaningdude.com, where you can find everything I have to offer on there for free, including how to start your business start to finish, how to use everything tool-wise start to finish when it comes to window cleaning, and how to actually do the window cleaning process, and my step-by-step guide start to finish of going to a job and ending a job. It's all there for free for you, including all the items you will need in window cleaning and where to find them. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I will see you in the next episode.